morning. As we begin, we know that women have always been drivers of innovation and creativity. WIPA data shows that the number of women using and benefiting from IP is still very low. And why does this matter? It matters because by using the IP system, women can thrive, generating income from technology, brands, creative works, and businesses they develop. We all benefit when more women create, invent, and are entrepreneurs participating in the IP system. Because that means more innovation, more creativity, and more business. When women and men are working together as equal partners, we can accelerate innovation and creativity, and we can build a better future that works for everyone, everywhere. Welcome, everybody, to the World Intellectual Property Day 2023 workshop, and the theme is Women and IP, Accelerating Innovation and Creativity. So this year, we are celebrating the can-do attitude of women inventors, creators, and entrepreneurs around the world, and their groundbreaking work. And we're joined today by distinguished panelists. And I'm your moderator today, Angela Ndambuki, also a creative and an IP lawyer. Without further ado, I'm going to welcome the KIPI chairman, Isaac Hassan, to give us the welcoming remarks. As we wait for the chairman to join us virtually, let me just say a few words about the World Intellectual Property Day. Through its theme, Women and IP, Accelerating Innovation and Creativity, the WIP Day 2023 celebrates the contribution of women in advancing IP, innovation, and creativity. Women often operate in an unfair, imbalanced business landscape where their efforts and expertise are often undermined by socio-cultural prejudices and nuanced stereotypes. And the male-dominated business environment struggles to see a woman as an expert who's earned her stripes. So this celebration therefore means a lot to the efforts and investment by women in innovation and creativity. And we have got also key personalities, both women and men, our he for she's here today, from various organizations and government agencies that will discuss the contribution of the respective organizations in promoting women and innovation and creativity. Would you want us to go straight to the panelists, or can we connect the chairman? Okay. So as we try to connect to the chairman, welcome the KIPI representative to give us an overview of what KIPI does and operates. David?
Thank you. My name is David Njuguna. I'll talk about KIPI. And let me start a brief history of where KIPI has come from. Kenya Institute was established in the year 2001, and that was through the Industrial Property Act that was enacted in 2001. And in terms of what KIPI does, it implements two acts of parliament. One is the Industrial Property Act of 2001 that relates to registration of patents, industrial designs, utility models, and technovations. The other act is the Trademarks Act that relates to registration of trademark relating to goods and services. Before 2001, when KIPI was established, previously, it existed as Kenya Industrial Property Office that had been established in 1989. And the establishment of KIPO in 1989 was necessitated by an institution called KEMRI when they came up with an invention of a drug that was called Kemron. And then at that time, it was realized that there was no law in Kenya that would have allowed KEMRI to apply for a patent. Before that, the law requires that once you come up in an invention in Kenya, the law was dependent on the UK system, that an applicant would be required to apply for a patent protection of the invention in UK. They go through the UK system, and then once a patent is granted in UK, then they will apply for it to be registered in Kenya at the AG office. And let me say from 1913 to 1989, there was a system where patents and trademarks would be registered at the AG chambers, but that changed in 1989 as well as in 2001. Let me talk about the mandate of KIPI as provided by the law is to promote inventive and innovative activities and to facilitate acquisition of technology. And that is done through the grant and registration of various IP rights, namely the patent, utility models, industrial designs, and trademark. And we talk about the promotion of innovation. KIPI is one of the agencies that do that. There are other agencies that also with a similar mandate to promote innovation. We have an organization like Kenya National Innovation Agency. They also have a role in terms of promoting innovation in the country through different activities. For KIPI is about registration of those 4 IP rights. And how it works is that once you have your rights registered, you have the exclusive rights in the market. And once you have the exclusive rights, it's possible that you can recoup the investment in terms of your investment in research and development by probably charging a higher price in the market. And that way, that's how KIPI does the promotion of invention and innovation. And we look at some of these titles that we register. The functions of KIPI, a number of them, is to grant and register patents, utility model, industrial designs, and trademarks. The other function is to screen technology transfer agreements and licenses. Yes, you may have your IP right, you've gotten a patent, industrial design or trademark, but then for you to exploit your IP rights, you can either do it yourself, make the products, and sell them in the market. You can decide to license somebody else to do that, or you can transfer your rights. You can sell your patent right to somebody else who probably has the capacity to develop the products and services and put them in the market for people to buy. In other words, there is a business aspect. Once you have your rights, you have to convert them to a business such that you are benefiting from your rights. The other function is KIPI provides industrial property information to the public in the sense that we run some activities, IP awareness activities, as well as providing information on the technologies that are protected, and therefore you cannot infringe on those rights because they are protected. Or we can provide the status whether those your invention, there is a similar invention protected in Kenya, and if not, then you can exploit that invention that is not protected in Kenya. We also run activities to promote inventiveness and innovativeness, and we organize and conduct training and competition and rewards to inventors. Then we look at the various titles that we grant and what is it that they protect. when you talk about patents, they relate to protection of inventions. And what constitutes an invention is defined in the law, that it's a new solution to a problem in the field of technology. So it's very specific to what you can get a patent for, a solution to a problem in the field of technology. And that invention has to relate to a product that you have created or a process for creating that product. And in addition, the product or process must be capable of being made in the industry. So when you talk about the solution, note that is not every solution that you can get a patent for. For example, if you have a solution for solving a domestic problem, that you cannot get a patent for that because of the definition that is there. Or a social problem, you may not get a patent for it because what you can patent is already defined in the Act is a solution to a problem in the field of technology. It's about progressing technology. The technology may exist, but then you can work on it and improve on it and also get a patent. The other clarification is that the things that you can patent the invention is something that can be made in the industry or used in the industry. It's not everything else that you can get a patent for. It's very specific. I have an example of a patent there on the screen that was granted to Defense Forces Technical College in 2012. It's a mobile field kitchen. You can see the drawings there. And that apparatus was useful some times back because the KDF were able to use it when they went to Somalia. So it's a mobile and produces a lot of, it can cook a lot of food using very minimal amount of fuel. And from the discussion we've had with them, they are making this kind of devices for big institutions. For example, the schools and prisons was very useful. And from the discussion with them, I think one unit of this, it's a big thing. That kitchen, they were selling at 1 million Kenya shillings. So you can see the role of the IP system, also the patents, that you can be able to make things and sell them in the market and prevent other people from infringing on your rights. And the requirements for protection or getting a patent protection, the first one is you got to submit a patent application in countries of interest. IP protection, most of the patents, or what KIPI does, they are territorial. The patent you apply and get registered at KIPI is only valid in Kenya. It doesn't apply in other countries. And therefore, it's based on you somebody submitting an application in the countries of interest. The other requirement is the disclosure of the invention, where the applicant is required to provide detailed written description of the invention. You got to disclose what is that you have invented so that you get the protection in exchange for the disclosure. The other requirement that the invention, once you receive it, it'll go through a process. Ultimately, the idea or the goal is to check whether your invention meets the requirement, whether is it new, not only in Kenya, but throughout the world. The other one is the second requirement, your invention must be inventive, in the sense that your invention should not be obvious to a person in the same field. And the third one is that the invention is something that can be applied in the industry, can be made or used in the industry. So those are the requirements for getting a patent. And we look at the benefit. What are the benefits once you get your patent rights? How do you benefit? One is the exclusive rights to prevent other people from exploiting your invention by making the product or importing the product, selling the product, or using the invention to make something out of it. Any person performing these acts, if they are making your invention or importing what is contained in that invention or patent, then they'll be deemed to be infringing on your patent rights. And the law provides for a mechanism on which you can approach the court to settle the dispute or to enforce your rights in court. And we have various organizations that are responsible for enforcement of those rights. The rights may be assigned or licensed so that you can, if you have a patent, you can license somebody else to exploit the invention. You don't have to do it yourself. You can license somebody. The other one you can assign, that is you sell off your invention or your patent for somebody to own it and exploit it. The other benefit in terms of the period of protection, the law says that a patent lasts for 20 years from the date that you submitted the application at KIPI or any other country. However, the 20 years are subject to payment of annual fees. Every year you're required to maintain that patent by paying some little amount of money to maintain that patent. The second category of rights that you can obtain at KIPI are what we call the utility models. And these are innovations that give some utility or advantage that was not available in Kenya before you apply to be granted those rights, or improvement that may not qualify for patent protection. Remember what I've just said, for patents there are 3 requirements. It has to be new, that is your invention, to be inventive and industrially applicable. For utility model, the requirement is newness and also industrially applicable. And the requirement for obtaining the UN protection is submission of a country, more or less like when you're applying for a patent, and also including the disclosure of the invention by providing the detailed information of the description of the invention. For utility models, the benefit include the 10-year period of protection and the exclusive rights to the owner to make or use the invention in Kenya, if that is registered in Kenya only. If you may decide to go the East African route, there is a regional organization based in Harare, Zimbabwe, that you can obtain a patent that is valid in a number of countries. I think currently is about 22 countries across Africa that you can apply and get registration of either a patent or utility model in those countries. And of course, the right to take legal action against a person who infringes on your rights. And also, they can be licensed also to other people. You can transfer your rights to somebody else. And an example of a registered utility models, a portable burner device. There's a lot of activities that is happening at Strathmore University. There's an organization, Kenya Innovation Center. There is a lot of research going on in terms of this kind of burners that use, just improvements of the existing burners. And we are seeing a lot of activity coming from that center. In terms of the applicants, most of their utility model applications are filed by Kenyan residents. Almost 99% are filed by Kenyan residents. The foreign applicants, very few activity in terms of utility models, but very highly active in terms of patent registration. And the most active applicants include the individuals, a lot of individual applicants who are filing utility model applications, SMEs, and also TVETs. We are seeing a lot of applications coming from those three categories of applicants. The third type of IP are the industrial designs that relate to protection of appearance of products in terms of the shape of a product, ornamental features of a product, or combination of both. You may have a product with combination with a new shape and also ornamental features. And the features that make a product attractive or appealing to consumers, and also that features that add commercial value to a product. A number of examples there. We have a display stand on the right On the left, that is a perfume bottle in the middle. I think maybe somebody can remove those things that are appearing there, please. Yeah. Thank you. A perfume bottle with that shape, registered sometimes back. So, and in terms of the period of protection, it's 15 years for this bottle in the middle. The rights have expired, and anybody is free to make use of it if they have the capacity. A sealing board relating to that pattern that is shown there. Yeah. Other examples is portable solar power kit, and probably you've seen them in the market. If you go to the supermarket, the devices are available. They have been registered at KIPI. There's another window. If somebody can minimize it, it'll be helpful. That the casing for a power solar lamp. In terms of the process of obtaining industrial design registration, again, you're required to submit an application and also the graphic representation of the product. In terms of the drawing or photograph, the ones that we have just seen previously. And the requirement for registration design, it must be new. And also identical or similar design must not have been disclosed to the public before you applied for registration of your design. In terms of the benefit of design registration, the law gives a maximum of 15 years period of protection and the right to prevent other people from copying the design or offering for sale products embodying the design that is registered. The other benefit is you can take legal action against any other person who infringes on your design. And also the positive right of ability to license your design to somebody else or to sell it off to somebody else so that they take complete ownership. The fourth right that we can obtain at KIPI are the trademarks, and these are common word out there. They are called the brands, and these are distinctive signs that are used to identify goods and services of one enterprise from those of another enterprise, and to distinguish goods or services of one enterprise from the other. We have the examples of what we call the trademarks. A trademark can be a word. For example, you have the Jogos and Hodari and Soko for maize flour. You also have words like Keringet, Dasani, and Excel for bottled water. A trademark can be in the form of a device. For example, those logos. The left one, I think we all know about it, with the big machine. And we also have the Toyota. So those are devices that the consumers connect with and can be able to identify in terms of the ownership or what is it the product that is signified by those devices. Slogans, you can also register a slogan as a trademark. The Pride of Africa, we know who that is. That is KQ. My country, my beer. Anybody who remembers that slogan and what it did sometimes back? Yes. Welcome home. Anybody can remember this? I think it was KTN. Yeah. Yeah. And numerals can also be registered as a trademark. 504, the Pujo. Yeah, 680. When mentioned 680, at least most of us would be aware what that who is behind the 680. Could be a combination of all those things, the word, letters, and devices. Good example is M-Pesa. There's the word M-Pesa and the device of a mobile phone. Yeah. What are benefits of registering your trademark? A trademark gives you the exclusive right to use the trademark in relation to goods and services, and also to prevent others from using identical or substantially similar marks. Examples there, we had Ketepa. This is a real case. Registered, R signifies a registered trademark. Then somebody tried to register Jetepa. It was refused at KIPI because of the similarity with Ketepa. There's a case of Nivea registered, then somebody was using Nivelline, and the Nivea people went to court, and the court agreed there's infringement of the Nivea trademark. Peptang is a matter that also went to court against Peptop, and the court ruled for Peptang. Weetabix registered at KIPI, and somebody else came up with Motibix. Again, the matter ended up in court, and the court ruled in favor of Weetabix, that there was infringement of those trademarks on the left. Yeah. So those are some of the benefits you can get through the registration of your trademark. The right also to take action against infringement if another person uses an identical or nearly resembling trademark, which is likely to deceive or cause confusion in the country. We have Red Bull as registered as a trademark. So if you come up with Dead Bull with no wings, then that would not be accepted, and somebody can take action in court to prevent the usage of a dead bull with no wings. Yeah. In terms of trademark, there are other benefits: protection of the trader's business, that is the goodwill related, attached to the trademark, and also the protection of consumers against likelihood of confusion in the market. Remember, when you go to the supermarket, how do you as a consumer identify the product that you want to buy? You go because of the brand, the trademark, and it becomes easy for you as a consumer to purchase the product of your choice without being confused. Imagine if there were no trademarks or brands, the products would be packaged plainly without the trademark. There would be a lot of confusion and unfair business practices. The other benefits: prevention of free riding, particularly in relation to quality of products. Sony is a registered trademark for various gadgets. So if somebody comes up with Sony, the owner of Sony can take action to prevent the use of Sony because he the likelihood of confusion. And also protecting the owner of Sony, the goodwill with Sony, the brand Sony. And also in terms of the benefits, promotion of orderly marketing and efficiency in the market in relation to the consumers being able to purchase the product of your choice, which they prefer or they're used to because of the quality and the knowledge, the information they have about the product that they are purchasing. So that's the end of my short presentation. Thank you very much.
So without further ado, we shall now invite the chairman, I believe he's on now, of the KIPI Board of Directors, Mr. Ahmed Isaac Hassan, to give us the keynote remarks. Chairman.
The World IP Day is marked annually on the 20th of April, since the World Economic Organization member states designated it in 2000 with the aim of increasing the general understanding of intellectual property. For us, the players who control the various aspects of IP, we feel greatly honored by your presence in today's celebrations, because the World IP Day is an important event for us to interact and exchange ideas with our different stakeholders in the IP and other sectors of the economy. Also, it offers us a great opportunity to celebrate with only our inventors and innovators, but also the owners and users of intellectual property. This year's World IP Day, the theme is Women and IP, Accelerating Innovation and Creativity. This is even more significant in that we are celebrating one of the most important segments of our society, women, who make up more than 50% of the total population of Kenya, according to the 2019 Kenya National Bureau Standards of and Population Census. But more importantly, women have played a great role in the creation, use, and promotion of intellectual property. Indeed, over the last years, they have been behind some of the greatest innovations and inventions which we enjoy today, including the catheter, the fire escape, wireless transmission technology, laser cataract surgery, computer algorithm, and home security system, to name but a few. In Kenya, we have had and continue to have women produce great inventions and creations in various sectors of our economy, including in manufacturing, technology, entertainment, hospitality, sports, and many other areas. As an institute, KIPI, we continue to seek out and facilitate women, including young innovators and inventors in the micro and small enterprises, including students from our leading learning institutions such as the universities, technical and vocational education training institutions, so that we can identify and protect their intellectual property assets before seeking partners in commercializing them. In this regard, we are in partnership with our sister organizations like the Congo, the Kenya Copyright Board, the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, and the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services. We are also working with our agencies and organizations, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, KAM, Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations, Institution of the Engineers of Kenya, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Women in Business in Kenya. I'm happy to note that today's panel discussion will involve highly experienced experts who will cover intellectual property extensively, including the one that you just had now. David gave a very good presentation on IP mandate of the Institute. This is a very important session. I hope that we can have time to ask questions and interact with the presenters, because it's a very important area for the protection and the use of the intellectual property rights. IP has also been recognized as an important instrument for technological and socio-economic development. This is critical because Kenya and the world in general are headed to a new order in which the creative minds of our women, young and old, will make a majority of our current innovative generation, will drive us towards exploitation of the full potential of our IP rights in Kenya. We need to harness science and technology to solve our persistent and endemic problems of drought, floods, hunger, famine, malnutrition, disease, locust outbreaks, biodiversity loss, and climate change. This is made possible by protection and exploitation of IP, as it is being witnessed emerging technologies under the fourth industrial revolution, including artificial intelligence, robotics, the Internet of Things, autonomous vehicles, 3D printing, nanotechnology, biotechnology, material science, energy storage, and quantum computing. Last but not least, I want to congratulate the winners of the award for emerging the top. For those who participated but did not win, we also salute you. We want you to keep up the good work, because not everyone can win these awards. And we hope to, and we promise you that KIPI will continue to protect and assist you in enhancing your inventions. In conclusion, I look forward to an interactive engagement during the panel discussion, and therefore I urge you all to engage in these very important panel discussions. With those few remarks, I declare the 2023 World Intellectual Property Day celebrations and award ceremony officially open. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Now we know what is in store for us today. Without further ado, I think we can go straight into the panelists. We have our distinguished panelists here today. And I'd ask each of our distinguished panelists to introduce themselves first, who they are, who they represent, and what they do as well. So we'll start with our farthest right, I think, as we come down like this.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity of inviting us here. My name is Jackie Ayiro from Kenya Chamber of Commerce. I'm a director with Nairobi County in charge of SME and entrepreneurship. So for me, this is very a gathering with issues right at my heart. I want to take this opportunity to thank our Chamber President, Mr. Richard Ngatia, for granting us this opportunity to be part of this great event, and also to the leadership of Nairobi County, led by our chair, Mr. Dr. Regan Maura. So I'm happy to be here to contribute the impact of Chamber in all these conversations that we are having today. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Suzanne Gashuki Opembe, and I'm a director of the Kenya Association of Music Producers, which is CAMP. I'm also very happy to be here. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Annie Obero, and I'm representing the Anti-Counterfeit Authority. I am here very happy and intrigued to learn more and engage with our audience on how ACA can help you enforce your intellectual property rights, and also, of course, to celebrate the World Intellectual Property Day. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. My name is David Njuguna. I'm the manager in charge of patents at Kenya Industrial Property Institute, that is KIPI.
Yes, good morning. My name is Lucas Sova. I'm a principal plant examiner working in the Plant Variety Protection Office at KEFIS headquarters. Thank you.
Good morning. Tobias Zalando is my name. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and we are just here to share what we are doing to promote business growth in this sector, particularly touching on women, protecting the innovation and all they do.
Good morning all. My name is Emily Kaleche Kyoko. I'm the Chief Corporate Inspector Investigations at the Kenya Corporate Board, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you. And on our far left is Benta Ogutu, our sign language interpreter. Thank you, Benta. Okay, so let's go right into the discussions today. And I will start. I know that David gave us a pretty good overview of what KIPI does. And we shall just be discussing particularly KIPI's support for women innovators and inventors. So, David, please tell us about what programs KIPI has in place to support local innovation and invention, especially programs or projects geared towards supporting women innovators and inventors.
Let me start by saying that KIPI has a robust IP awareness program in which we go around the country preaching the gospel of IP. And as we are doing that, we scout for some innovative ideas and products. As we go around the country, we realize that there's a big population that they are not aware of IP rights. So we start from the foundation, telling them what is IP, the benefits, as I've illustrated in my presentation. And in most occasions, we do ask the participants to just come with them, the things that they are doing, the products that they are making. And from there, we are able to scout the one that we can provide further support and guidance, including in terms of how they can apply for registration of some of the IP rights that are relevant to the product that probably they are working on. And we also extend the IP awareness to the other institutions. The chairman has mentioned about the SMEs, the education institutions, and the TVET. And in the last 3 or so years, we've intensified that awareness, and we've seen an increase in terms of innovations in relation to patents and utility models that are coming from across the country, from SMEs, and also the education institutions, the universities. we team up with the universities to organize and collaboration so that when you go out, the university or the TVET are the host, and we involve other stakeholders, other agencies. The ACA, we go with them to those forums. They also talk about what they do, how they can help in terms of enforcement. We have institutions like KEBS. We also bring them on board, and KEFIS, the institutions that are here when we are making them awareness. Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, also we do partnership with them when you're going around, in the sense that they can tell the participants what is it that they can do for them in terms of the project that they are running. And in our engagement at the rural areas or local level, we also scout for products. When you're doing the scouting, if we find that there are some certain areas in which women are very active, and we initiate projects where we can support them, work with them, hold their hands through the IP process so that they get the registration, and also bring other people who are good in business to train them on the business aspect so that they are able to commercialize their products successfully or improve the products and the packaging of their products so that they are attractive to the consumers in the marketplace. So yes, we are involved in creating a lot of awareness, and women are part of that group that we preach the gospel to. Yep.
Excellent. Thank you, David. For the participants who are joining us online, you may introduce yourselves on the chat, and later after the panel you'll be able to ask some questions. So if you have any questions, please do write them down, and we'll be able to ask them after the panelists have given us their contributions. So next I'll go to KECOBO, Kenya Copyright Board, who is our other, there's the industrial property and there's copyright. So we are going to discuss how KECOBO is supporting women in the protection of their creative works. So Kalache, what is the mandate of KECOBO, and how relevant is it in promoting women's creatives in IP?
First of all, the Kenya Copyright Board is mandated by the Copyright Act to enforce copyright and related rights in Kenya, and also to administer. And one of our roles is we carry out public awareness. We do enforcement, registration of copyright, training and licensing of CMOs. And my department as a copyright inspector, my role is to investigate and to enforce the Copyright Act. So I'm usually very touched when women come to the office, and I'm able to assist them, and at the end of the day they're able to smile and go back home knowing that I've assisted them. And the role, in the first place, once you get to know what is copyright, and that is the exclusive bundle of rights that is granted to an author of literary works, you'll be able to understand that when it comes to women, as a copyright inspector, what I've noticed is that most women are authors, and they love writing books. And you find that right now what KECOBO is doing is we are training them, we are creating awareness. For the past 1 year we did not have a training department, but now we have a training department that is being Sharon Wata is the one in charge, and what they're doing is they're reaching out to the copyright holders and asking them, what is it that you don't know? What is it that you like KECOBO to do? And we are reaching out, and we'll be able to see that like most of the universities that are in partnership with the Women in STEM organization, yes, you find that we are collaborating with them. We are having MOUs with them, Memorandum of Understanding, whereby we're able to go to the universities and train the young girls, the young innovators, the young creatives on the importance of intellectual property. And something else that Kenya Corporate Board has come out with is the NNR, that is the National Rights Registry, whereby creatives are able to register their works, that is their literary works, through the registry. All you need to do is just log in and you'll be able to register your work. Before, they used to come to the office, which was tiresome to them because you're all aware that Kenya Corporate Board is only a station in Nairobi. So you'll find that somebody from Mombasa, Kisumu, coming all the way to Kenya Corporate Board to register his work. But right now, what you're doing is that you're able to log into the NRR and you're able to register your work. And something else also we've done is we have support programs for women entrepreneurs. Sometimes we support them through mediation. Sometimes you find that when the authors come to our office, somebody maybe, you find that, and I'm sure KP can agree with me that when it comes to IP, you'll find that sometimes registration is part of, you'll find that you can register patent, you can register copyright, at the same time you can register trademark. And, it's what we do is that we advise the authors on, you can register for patent, you can register for trademark, and you can also register for copyright. And my advice is usually to the corporate owner is always do an audit of your work. And if you're not able to know what kind of protection you can get for your work, get a lawyer. If you can't get a lawyer, come to our office. We have specialized lawyers, and these specialized lawyers will be able to advise you. So that's my take for now.
Wonderful. So we know who to go to for the creative bit of it, and the innovative, we go to Kipi, creative, we go to Kekobo. Wonderful. And for our third arm government agency is the Anti-Counterfeit Agency. So I'll just go straight to a question to Annie, where we'll be talking about ACA's role in enforcement relating to women innovators in Kenya. So Annie, kindly tell us what the mandate of ACA is, and how does the mandate ensure that ACA supports women in protecting their innovations?
Good morning once again. As the authority, we have been in existence for the past 10 years. So our main role is to prohibit trade in counterfeit products. So as mentioned, for the creatives, you're going to Kekobo, and then for registration of trademarks, you go to Kipi. Following that, you will come to us to register, and so that whenever someone infringes on your intellectual property, we are able to come in and prosecute them. The ACA's role is majorly threefold. So the first one is enforcement, which is our main arm. This one, we have the enforcement officers who are mainly charged with conducting investigations. They do raids, they conduct seizures as well, and they also, with that, they are able to arrest the counterfeiters who are really having a bad impact on the business. The other one is market research. We have a department that is charged with this mandate that majorly focuses on identifying where the problems are, the pain areas, as we like to call them. So they will go out in the market and see where these counterfeits are being sold and what could be the main issues that the populace is addressing. The other one is the education and public awareness, which I represent today. We are charged with educating, with enlightening the populace. Kenyans continually have the need for information, and we are happy that they are thirsty for this information. So we are constantly out there educating the populace on the importance of IP. We appreciate that IP is still in its infancy, so to speak, in Kenya, because most of the Kenyans don't really appreciate the importance of IP. And with regards to women, we have quite a good response whenever we go out there. Women are usually at the forefront when it comes to appreciating our work and what we are, to what extent that we are going to reach out to them. We have a particular department that focuses on women's needs, so this one is very good in championing the needs of women. Thank you.
I'll now go to Susan Gashukia, who is also in the creative space, and I noticed that when she was giving her introduction, she was very modest. I know we usually say that creativity is just, being creative by itself, but at the end of the day, you have to commercialize it to be able to make a living. So Susan, could you kindly tell us more about Camp and Reich and how they work to promote women's participation in creativity and enterprise development?
Okay, let me sort of contextualize it, because obviously music and music production, whether it's audio, whether it's audiovisual, there's that whole creative side of the industry. And at Reich, I'll start with Reich, which is the recording industry of Kenya. One of the main things we're setting up is being able to register an ISRC code. Now that code is embedded in the work, the musical work, and then you can track it digitally around the world whenever it is played. Now that's one of the things that's been more recent. It's a recent sort of development for Kenya, and we're hoping to really spread it throughout the music industry. Reich is also really, I would compare it to the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, but for music. So we're really advocating for the rights of the music industry, and that's really our main role. Whereas when it comes to camp, the Kenya Association of Music Producers licenses people for the related rights in the musical work. We protect the producers of the musical work, and we say that is the investor in the musical work, in the musical recording. So whereas there are 3 collective management organizations, the Music Copyright Society of Kenya, PRISC, which is for performers, and then CAMP, which is for the producers of the sound recording. So that is what we encourage everybody to register their musical works with CAMP, all the producers, including quite a number of women who have now gone into the production space, so that they've moved out of just being authors, composers, and performers, and actually started being the investors in the music industry. So our role is to really make sure that the investors are getting their money back. When we're licensing broadcasters, we're licensing, hotels like this, and everyone who is using the musical works. I think I will stop there. Is that okay?
Yes, Susan. I do apologize. I actually left out one of the agencies here of the government. I can see very clearly, seated right next to me. So Lucas represents KEFIS. And we shall talk about KEFIS' role in promoting women in research and innovation. So Lucas, today, please start by telling us the role of KEFIS in promoting women in research and innovation.
Thank you, Madam Hajala. And let me start by saying that KEFIS is a state corporation in the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, and Cooperatives, mandated to offer regulatory services in the agricultural sector. Our vision is about healthy plants, safe trade, and sustainable agro-environments for a prosperous Kenya. Being a regulatory agency, KEFIS has 4 mandates, which I can summarize into 4. And one of them is about phytosanitary services, and that involves the issues about preventing the introduction and spread of pests and diseases into the country through inspections, especially at border points. Number 2, we offer analytical services through our laboratories, where we do issues to do with the food safety testing on MRLs, soil testing, even the quality of water testing for growth of our plants. Another mandate is about seed certification to ensure quality assurance on seed as an agricultural input. And the last one is about plant variety protection, where we offer the protection services of new varieties of plants to encourage more breeding work. Let me start by saying that government regulations can have both positive and negative effects on innovation processes, and regulatory reforms in KEFIS is intended to enhance positive regulatory effects on innovation to women. For example, regulation and regulatory reform can affect technological development in the agricultural sectors like breeding and biotechnology, and can influence technology. It can influence the innovation processes right from research through to technology diffusion. And in this case, KEFIS has reviewed its regulations, especially on certification processes, on development and the release of new plant varieties through modern technologies like gene editing, where we've been engaged on the ground training women groups on such technologies, and especially in the field of seed certification, and making sure that the regulations are fully responsive to changes in the economic, social, and technical conditions in our country. This has been a powerful stimulus to further innovations, where we have seen the number of women applying for plant breeders' rights. Those are patents when it comes to plant variety protection, and also in the development of new plant varieties increase. The organization has also been encouraging participatory breeding involving women to a large extent, as they are mainly involved in subsistence, small and micro-scale agriculture. Women mostly determine the attributes to be included in development of new plant varieties, such as the taste, the cooking time, and nutritional values. And so they've been key in ensuring that the new varieties that are being developed match their needs. The institution has also embraced technology by digitizing all of its operations, from application for field certification processes to registration of seed growers and merchants. This has made it easier for women to access services at the seat of their houses, an advantage to women who are disadvantaged by entrenched gender roles and gender bias that mostly prevent women from traveling to markets and other business transactions, or even leave their homes without their husband's consent. KEFIS has also supported women and youth groups through training and sensitization to start seed companies. For example, we have two, Vihiga and Emali, where women and youth groups are being involved in seed production as much as seed growers, and going all through to selling amongst themselves and even to the neighboring communities. It is worth noting that it is through such avenues where women are involved in evaluation for release of new varieties and even develop their own varieties, where KEFIS has assisted in the release process and registration of such varieties. The organization is also sensitizing smallholder farmers on available market information and opportunities, and also supporting in cleaning and promotion of farmer varieties, most of which are held by women. The use of quality marks, such as sticker labels on seed packets, which I know most of us are aware of, are meant to inform farmers, most of who are women, on quality of seeds before purchase. This adds in the process of innovation diffusion. Women represent less than 10% of plant breeders' rights, people who own plant breeders' rights in the country. The organization is encouraging more women breeders by recognition of women innovators through awards, and by tackling stereotyping among young generations. It is also supporting and recognizing all that make impact, especially in coming up with new varieties. And this has been enhanced by digitizing agriculture and the services to make it attractive to women and youth, and through policy reforms with bias to women. Let me say this. KEFIS has an active gender mainstreaming committee, and the organization has created a good working environment for women scientists, championing for equality in top leadership positions, and support to women in such positions. In relation to Sustainable Development Goals, the organization is supporting the AGPO regulation, where a third gender role is being observed in supplies and tendering processes, encouraging women and youth to participate. The information is delivered in print media and digital platforms like websites and also through the WhatsApp messages, and this is aimed to enhance access to more women. So, to crown it all, KEFIS is doing everything right, from digitization of its operations, supporting the women, supporting leadership, and trying to encourage gender equality. Because it is by doing so that we are going to level the playground for the operations of women, and they are going to contribute immensely towards development in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lucas. And as you heard what Lucas has said, less than 10% women. And the first time when we began this session, we saw that WIPO actually mentioned that even worldwide, the women, interactions with IP is very low. So I guess it's a challenge to us women to be able to engage more with intellectual property and be able to protect our works and register our works as well. So next we should go to the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, where we're going to talk about CAM's support to women innovators and manufacturers. So Tobias, kindly tell us what CAM is doing to promote women innovators.
Thank you very much. I'll start by quoting a study that we did in, I think, 2020 about women in manufacturing. And out of the study, there was an understanding that 25% reduction in gender gap could increase about 5.8 trillion global GDP. That shows you the importance of having diversity and inclusiveness in this field that we operate in. As Kenya Association of Manufacturers, looking at history, this game has been the boys' game. Majority of the manufacturers have been men. But we've had the intention to change this through, first of all, leadership. I think we are one of the first BMOs in this country that had a woman chair for the first time in our history since the last 60 years. Flora Mutai became the chair of Kenya Association of Manufacturers. The next thing is that we have intentionally decided to have women and their voice be heard in the space of the manufacturing sector when we established the Women in Manufacturing Caucus, a grouping that brings about women who are directly involved in running the factories or who are indirectly employed in the factories, to come together and identify how they can grow their business. And through the Women in Manufacturing, we've been able to identify quite a number of programs that have so far helped women grow their businesses, particularly in the manufacturing sector. One of them is a Scaling Up program, where we identify women who have established their manufacturing or businesses and match them up through linkages with the bigger companies so that they can scale up and learn from the other companies. The other program that we've initiated is, of course, financial and investment linkages. Most of the women who came to us and sort of had an idea of starting a business, had challenges of compliance. We've been able to also support them by linking them with the key government agencies in terms of compliance. But apart from that, we realized financial gap was the main issue. So we developed a program that we are linking with financiers through getting bank financial supports from bank and other investments. And that has been working well in terms of identifying an opportunity for women to access funds. The other program is called Business Maturity. Most businesses established, we notice that Business Maturity program. Most businesses that we noticed that were created don't last 3 years. They start and they end up either closing because they do not have support. So the maturity program sort of identifies businesses or manufacturing plants led by women that are coming up and how they can be supported through mentorship programs. We have identified key mentors in the industries who can have direct conversation with the women in manufacturing and help them grow their business. The last one that we have done is, of course, market access. Every business that starts up, they have a challenge on finding market for their goods or for their products. So we have initiated a program that helps our women in manufacturing to market their products through exhibitions, and we partner with other government agencies through trade missions, and we will continue to do what we have been doing. So in a nutshell, I think we have been involved in this space of promoting the women, and we will continue to do this. And the other major thing now would be the challenge now protecting their intellectual property, their patents and all that. We are also working with the government agencies to ensure that that angle of their growth in business is also protected.
Wow, wonderful. A lot of work there in store for the women manufacturers. Thank you, Tobias. And then lastly, we're going to go to, last but not least, we're going to go to the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And Jackie will be talking to us today about the role of KNCCI in promoting women entrepreneurs in Kenya. So Jackie, please begin by telling us that KNCCI actually established the Women in Business Committee a few years ago. Was this a response to the increasing need to create a fair environment for businesses run by women? And what has been achieved so far?
Just a brief of who we are. We were established, KNCCI was established in 1965 with a mandate to protect and develop the interests of business communities in Kenya. We have an international network of 177 chambers around the world, regional networks, and a countrywide outreach of 47 counties chapters. And our membership base currently stands at 50,000 direct members, and of course, a further 2 million from indirectly affiliated to the KNCCI as member associations. So our role, the focus of our projects are mostly on business financing, capacity building, SME development, and service delivery. And you ask a powerful question, where are women in all this? And KNCCI, we established Women in Business sector, and its mandate is to integrate empowerment of women in business and trade from 47 counties. WIB Kenya convenes over 10,000 women active in trade, entrepreneurship, business, and professionals across the counties. And in conjunction with KNCCI, it has continued to empower women, start their potential, and accelerate the growth of their trade and entrepreneurial activities by promoting, coordinating, and promoting commercial and industrial interests of women in business, with our leader, Nancy Mudhoni, who is in charge of women in business countrywide. We have played a key role in promoting women participation in trade within and outside Kenya through capacity building, mentorship, networking, organizing trade and industrial exhibitions, and being a voice for policy concerns. We played a critical role in a policy for women access to government procurement opportunities, WAGPO. We conduct research of women business-related issues in all the 47 counties of Kenya. We provide advisory for business trade-related issues for women in conjunction with KNCCI advocates. Just to highlight some of our key projects where we've played a critical role, there's CEDA with the consortium with the Swedish, and this project supported 12,000 cross-border women traders with an unconditional transfer of 6,000 and a patient capital of 10,000 in Busia, to help them survive the harsh economic conditions caused by COVID. So we are working with women at MSME level and also at SME level. We have partnered with Trademark with on a project targeting 20,000 women, creating the Women in Trade platform, iSoko, and women traders are supposed to use this to create market linkages and to also, where there's also capacity building to strengthen them. And also, we play a critical role with business advocacy, where we undertook, KNCCI has undertaken a survey of suppliers and retailers across Nairobi to assess their capacity. And most of these small traders, we all know, are actually women. We also partnered with MasterCard Foundation during COVID, where we had 17,962 KNCCI MSMEs benefit from this program, and of course 60% of these were women. We've had great partners come into place to partner with us, and just to make sure that women are at the forefront of business development. And we all know that women are the key drivers of economic development in our country, both at the grassroots level and even at national level. So women are the heart of KNCCI, and we have the achievements we have made as KNCCI, where women are playing a key role. Thank you.
Okay, now that we have had the first round of just the introductions of the various organizations, I would kindly ask the participants to start posting their questions as we go along, and on the chat to the panelists, so we can be able to address them once we complete the information that we're going to be shared here today. I want to just go now to the creative space, Suzanne, for you, and you'll tackle for us just a few questions, because I know you're supposed to be in another meeting right now. So please kindly tell us, what are some of the issues you frequently encounter that you believe affects the quality of women participation in creativity, and also what the plans of Camp and Reich have for women producers, and what you can actually tell young women who are actually producers or interested in joining the recording industry.
I just wanted to mention that at Camp, women are the majority of the directors this time. We just elected 4 women directors and 3 guys, so we're doing pretty well. Well, I think a lot of the challenges are around what they know about their rights, okay, especially the legal rights, contract law. If you're, for instance, if you've written a song and you go in and a producer sort of says, well, I'm going to take the rights. So we will be concentrating on really explaining their rights to them, and especially when you talk about, because you think about the author and the composer and you think, okay, that's the only right, but there is the producer's right, and that's a very important right, because that's the investor. And we're looking to have more women actually come into the production space. A lot of the time people think music is a youth industry, but as you mentioned, I've been in the industry for 40 years. As I keep saying, I've educated my children children on the music industry. So it is an industry for serious business people and for people who really have the interest and the passion to invest. For us, it's really about giving them the knowledge, giving them the tools, giving them the legal advice, the necessary legal advice, and also as we change into the digital space, how do we now monetize our works, okay, in the digital space, where piracy is really, really getting the better of a lot of the industry right now because of the lack of knowledge of how to monetize the space. So that is where we will be concentrating on very much, I think. Thank you.
Thank you. And any word before you go? Any word for the young women who are interested in joining the field?
Let me tell you, the music business is a serious business with a lot of scope and a lot of potential. So I really feel people should be encouraged to if you're passionate about business and about music, be encouraged to actually enter the space, to invest in it, because it has great returns. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for that contribution. Allow me to go back to Kippy and David. Kindly to tell us what are some of the things that Kippy considers as milestones in the support for women innovators and inventors in the past few years.
Thank you, Angela. Let me start by saying that one of the projects that we have successfully implemented was the Taita basket. And the genesis of it was these women in Taita Taveta County who weave the baskets. And the story is that they used to do it individually. And the products that they would make would not be in a standardized form because even the material that we're using, they were not standardized, and even the shapes were not standardized. And we came up with a project proposal. And our link into the project is, of course, the IP element of it. We're looking at what type of IP can they benefit from. And we came up with the idea of a collective mark. A collective mark is owned by a group of people, and you have to set the rules for the individual members to use that collective mark for the products that they make. And the project was implemented for a period of 2 years. And the first component was to talk to them about IP. And given that these are rural women and the English language, probably some of them are not conversant with it. And therefore we have to bring other people to talk them in Swahili or their Taita language, which they could understand, just telling about the importance of IP. So we worked with them for a period of 2 years, trained them, brought other experts into that space to tell them about the business aspect. In terms of the costing of the basket, what is required, and the profit markup. And the first part of it was in terms of them coming together and agree to form an association. There were about 400 women. They formed an association, the Taita Basket Association. It was registered at the AG. And along the process, they were taught even how to improve on the basket that we're making, standardize them, come with the rules. What are the qualifications for other women to join, to be part of that association? So the rules were set, and it was a participatory project. Ultimately, the decision was for them to come up with a trademark. They were involved in terms of the design they wanted. Taita is hilly, so they say they would want that part of it to be in their trademark. The sisal plant that they used to make them the threads. So all those were considered and from their input and guided. And ultimately, that trademark was registered by Kippy. On top of that, they would be invited in exhibitions to just exhibit their baskets. And at one time, they were sponsored to take their baskets to Japan for an exhibition. There was a TICAD exhibition in Japan, and was sponsored to go to Japan and show, because we also collaborated with WIPO and Japan in that project. And for us, it was a successful thing. So that was the first project that we did. And from there, we decided also on our own to look at other similar projects that we can take through the process. And I would want to say that currently we have Baringo. In Baringo, we have what is called the Koreama honey, similar to what Taita does, was doing. And the idea was again to have them come up with an association of all their membership, come up with the rules, which we assist to guide in guiding them how to prepare those rules. And the collective mark is owned by association, but the members, whatever they make, they are given the labels or the trademark to put to their basket. And of course, there is the process of validating those products by the association. So that is ongoing. Again, starting with the IP sensitization, how to go about even approaching KEBS for certification, and the involvement of other stakeholders in that process. We also have Kitui. Baringo, the Koreama honey is at advanced stage. Kitui is also another project that we have identified, starting from the sensitization, the initial sensitization. We also have from Homa Bay, the peanut butter we are working on. Again, the same thing. They have a variety of peanut butter that is very suitable for that area, and they describe it as very smooth when it's milled. So we are working with them. And also for the Homa Bay and the Kitui, the majority of the people involved in those industries are women. Yeah, so, and the fourth one is Moya rice, the initial stages. We are still having discussion and sensitization to that group. So those are some of the milestones that we have achieved, and we are believing some of these projects can be replicated. Example is the Taita basket. We know different communities make their own basket. We have the women from Central Kenya who make the Kiondo. Ukambani, there's also, they have also their own version, just working with them. And the idea is to have collective marketing. There's strength in collective marketing. Examples are the tea, the coffee, and the milk industry is collective marketing, where the producers, those women at the grassroots level, in a way they can own an IP, yeah, which they can use to market their products. And so that's the whole idea, replicating those kind of thing where we have a group of people who are doing a common thing, that we can work with them, convince them that yes, this is the way to go, and there are benefits. From Taita, they told their story that the prices of the basket they were making, they would fetch higher prices because of the process that we took them through, and the recognition, the identifier in the market, the trademark, the Taita basket. People can identify, the consumers can identify with it, and they fetch higher prices than the rest of the baskets, which are not standardized. So I think that's part of the milestone that I can talk about when what we are doing in that space at the entry point is about the angle of the IP. Yep.
Thank you for that, David. I think, Annie, you can tell us what some of the bottlenecks you encounter in enforcing against counterfeit goods, and what are the possible effects of these bottlenecks on women innovators?
The first one would be the lack of knowledge. Just the simple appreciation of what IP can do for you as an innovator, as an entrepreneur. The people out there are ready to know what it is that you have. So when you have counterfeiters coming through, they learn what you're doing, and then now again start counterfeiting. So one of the challenges there is just the lack of general knowledge of the importance of IP. The other one is to the consumers. the consumers continue to struggle to differentiate between counterfeits and originals. So as an innovator, you have done your research and development, you've done your marketing, you've done your advertising. You hope that your product is improving on the day-to-day lives of the people, but when you get out there, the counterfeiters are reaping the rewards of your hard work. So that is another of the challenges. And then the other one, the last one, is just the criminal nature of counterfeiting. It is clandestine in nature, so it is difficult for us to just keep a track of, because it's done in the dead of night. It is not regulated at all. So it is just one of the critical challenges that we continue to work with the DCI, the police, to also help in capacity building so that people are able to identify these counterfeits, they're able to report as well, and then also to empower our partner agencies like KEFIS, who's represented here, Kekobo. We have KEBS as well, who help us quite a lot. Thank you.
Well, very interesting. And on that, maybe you could just tell us about how ACA last year launched the recordation of intellectual property rights. So what does that mean to women innovators and what you've just told us?
Thank you very much. Innovators, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, all the women who are involved in this space, we have a new technology that we are calling recordation of intellectual property. It was launched last year in July, but seeing as it lacked quite a lot of technical know-how from the ones who are going to be registering parties, we pushed it to the beginning of this year. So now it is fully fledged, it is working. Anyone who has a product they feel that can be infringed upon, someone can imitate, someone can manufacture and start selling, that therefore meaning that they are encroaching on their IP, they can come. I mean, they don't need to come because it is fully digitalized. They can just log on to our website and be able to register their IPR. Thank you very much.
I'll now go to Kaleche and Kekobo. You mentioned that you're the Chief Copyright Inspector. So whose role is it to investigate and enforce the Copyright Act? And what are some of the cases you encounter that mainly affect women in IP? And what advice would you implore to women in IP?
Thanks, Angela. I'd like to say that Kenya Copyright Board is a state corporation under the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Arts and Sports. And it was established by Section 3 of the Copyright Act, 2001. So you find that we are guided by the Copyright Act. And as a copyright inspector, my role is to ensure compliance with copyright laws and regulations. Also, copyright inspectors are responsible for monitoring and enforcing IP rights in Kenya. And if I can give a scenario of what we're experiencing right now as copyright inspectors, the technology is ever evolving. And some like 10 years ago, you'll find that we had hard books. That is where you'll go and buy a book, let's say like for John Grisham. You'll go to a shop, a bookshop, and you buy the book. But these days is that you'll find that with technology, and people are circumventing it in a way that they are able to download books and distribute them through the internet. Now you find us as a copyright inspector, that's one of the challenges that you're getting. And a very good example is like for broadcast piracy. You find that these days broadcast is being transmitted, or it's been transmitted through the internet, and it's really difficult to be able to gauge on who or what they are using to infringe on copyright. And for me as a copyright inspector, what I can say is what I've experienced is more to do with music where women come to our offices, and film producers, and also book authors. They come to our office. You find that an author, I'll not mention her because the case is still ongoing. She came to our office and she told me that through WhatsApp and through Telegram, her work is being sold. So you find that an author like her, by the time you get to investigate her case, and by the time you take the case to court, and by the time you get the perpetrators, what you usually advise her is to write a takedown notice to the service providers, as in, my book is being pirated, can you please bring down that book? And from there, we are able to, maybe later to investigate, and we're able to know, and we're able even to locate where the person who is pirating the work is. And I'd like to say that the DCI, that is the Director of Criminal Investigations, is really assisted us, and we've really collaborated with them in issues related to infringement through the internet. And there's one case that was, I think last week, it was about DSTV, who are our stakeholders. And guys were able to be arrested in an area in Eldoret. And these were guys who were using the net to provide services by making sure that, let me just say they get, they give you service to get DSTV content, and you pay for it, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. And it was a very, it was a big milestone for Kenya Corporate Board. And what I can say is, when it comes to intellectual property, as a corporate inspector, what I can advise is, can we have it at the level of learners, as in the children, our kids? Can we have them know the importance of intellectual property? Because you find that some of the infringers that you arrest, somebody will ask you what is copyright. I don't know about copyright. So if we have sessions, or we have even clubs whereby kids can go and sit down and they're able to be told what is copyright, what is intellectual property, I think will be one step ahead of ensuring that at least it is the level is going down, and they're going to respect the owners of the copyright. Thank you.
So Lucas, we know that climate change and poor agricultural inputs have significant effect on women's lifestyles and lives. So what are some of the challenges that KEFIS is battling with towards improving women's participation in decision-making around these issues, as well as in the creation of solutions?
Let me start by saying that seed is the beginning of everything. And because even the food that we eat, it starts with the food. The business of unscrupulous seed sellers has been so lucrative because they know they have a ready market. So poor quality seeds in the market through unscrupulous seed sellers has been a real menace. And as an institution, we've been able, through collaboration with other stakeholders, and especially the law enforcement officers, track through investigation by our seed certification department, and nab some of these offenders. In addition to that, we are doing the registration and monitoring of all seed growers and seed merchants. And we are also doing the monitoring of the quality of seeds that is being offered in the market by our agrovets through what we call the seed certification surveys. And this ensures that what is being offered into the market is of good quality. Let me say again, to mitigate this issue, we've been conducting training and sensitization to our smallholder farmers, most of whom are women, on the importance of using certified seed. And thus, by doing so, we are making the unscrupulous seed business unattractive to the end user whom they target. Because if you are informed, then of course you won't go for fake seed. The use of technologies, as I had mentioned earlier, such as the sticker labels on seed packets, where using a sticker label, which just appears like the Safaricom scratch card, you can scratch that card, and then it gives you a code, which you send to KEFIS through our system, and that you get an immediate feedback about whether the seed which you are purchasing is certified or it is fake. And that has really helped our farmers in ensuring that they are aware of the quality of the seed that they are purchasing right at the purchasing point. KEFIS has also gone ahead in strengthening the policies and regulations in ensuring that we hold the culprits of unscrupulous seed business liable for flouting the seed laws and regulations. And we've been able to advocate for possible penalties. Coming with the same climate change, we have emergency of new pests and diseases. And we all know the MLND that was ravaging the country just the other day. We know the fall armyworm that is still a menace, and we are trying to mitigate it. And what KEFIS is doing is conducting the seed certification in our fields to ensure that much of these diseases can be detected at the production area and such seed does not get to our farmers. This is helping in reducing the use of chemicals. We are also conducting seed certification processes in the field that I've mentioned, just to ensure the quality of seed that is being produced is good. And we are also doing pest surveillance and pest risk analysis, and this is helping in early warning systems through the Ministry of Agriculture, and thus through the surveillance and pest risk analysis, we are able to prevent the introduction of injurious pests and diseases into the country, which can harm our agriculture and environment. Through the pest surveillance and the pest risk analysis and the certification processes, KEFIS has been able to open new markets for the Kenyan products, agricultural products. We are talking to products like the mangoes, the mango market within the EU and within the UAE. We are talking about the avocado business to China and other areas where such markets had been closed, like in South Africa. We are talking about the banana markets in South Korea. And all this has been done by well-informed decisions about what we are exporting is pest-free and disease-free, and it is meeting the requirements of that importing market. So by doing so, opening new markets for our agricultural produce. And when it comes to plant breeders' rights, we've had cases of plant breeders' rights infringement, and KEFIS has been in the forefront in enforcement of plant breeders' rights, and through mitigation of infringement cases and ensuring that the infringed parties are well compensated from their innovations, from infringement of their innovations. Right now, I have a case which is ongoing at Jabini of somebody who had infringed somebody's variety, that is a flower variety, Erigium, and it is ongoing. I was just being tipped of that. And that is, those are our officers on the ground doing that enforcement. And this is encouraging breeding of more climate-resilient crops for food security and encouraging more women breeders since they know their innovations are well protected. Let me say that another challenge is about the less women in the profitable agricultural business. And what we are doing is supporting registration of women groups in seed production, registration of women as seed growers, seed merchants, and also the digitalization of all the services that I earlier mentioned, making the services available and close to our women. We are also doing the training and sensitization on available market opportunities to our women and youth. And as I've mentioned, of course, what we are doing through the certification process. So as KEFIS, I think we've tried in mitigation of the effects of climate change and ensuring that the lifestyle of our women and youth are given priority in addressing those challenges. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Lucas. So Tobias, tell us the challenges that women manufacturers face that inhibit their growth and innovativeness.
Women manufacturers in Kenya majorly face the challenge of coming out and taking their role in terms of the manufacturing space. Like I mentioned earlier, historically, manufacturing space has been known to be a man's business. So that has been the challenge. But now many women in manufacturing are coming out and getting involved in the business of manufacturing. The other challenge, of course, is awareness. A lot of women we noted are not aware about their IP-related issues and what they need to do, and that's why we work with KIPI closely to ensure that they are able to protect their intellectual property rights in terms of their innovation and even patent what they're doing. So we've made it like a must-do. When we meet women in manufacturing, establishing a business, discussions with KIPI is a priority. But the major challenge, again, is, of course, the substandard goods, counterfeit that come into the market and eating the market share of the little that our women are producing. We are working closely with ACA to ensure that this challenge is addressed, but it is a major challenge that affecting a lot of business, particularly when you produce an end item, it starts hitting the market, and then it is counterfeited, so you lose your market share. The other problem that we see that women are facing, of course, is the finance, access to capital, access to major finance that they may use to either start their manufacturing plant or grow their business. And that is why we initiated a program on financial and investment, linking our women in manufacturers with the financiers for them to access money to be able to do their business. And this being the day that we celebrate our women in the intellectual property business, I think we need to applaud those that have already established themselves and have been a very good example, and we use them to mentor those that are coming, those that are starting their business. And this is just to encourage them. Yes, there are challenges that businesses face, but there are solutions out of those challenges. And as KM, we have tried our best and will continue doing our best to address some of these challenges. Some of them are also regulatory related challenges where there's too many licenses, too many fees and charges from one county and to another. So there are numerous challenges that they face, but we believe that listening to them and putting them through the caucus that we have, we are able to understand their needs and being able to address some of them. Thank you.
I'll now go to the Chamber of Commerce. Jackie, So what is the role of the committee, the IP committee at the Chamber, in promoting innovation among women?
Now, the Intellectual Property Sectoral Committee was established in 2021, mainly as a result of the challenges that you've heard my colleagues talk about. And the mandate is to provide strategic guidance to the Chamber's IP agenda in the trade sector and consequently influence positive policy change for the private sector. Its role in promoting innovation among women includes creating an enabling IP policy framework for women, IP protection and enforcement, and progressive IP legislation. Now, we must all agree that SMEs account for about 80% of regional businesses, yet they continue to experience a myriad of challenges navigating through the market environment. Women significantly contribute to Kenya's innovative scene. Nevertheless, the awareness on intellectual property remains low amongst even our members and the women we work with. For this reason, Kenya continues to record cases of IP theft, unauthorized use of IP, counterfeits, and consumer exploitation. Due to inadequate registration of intellectual property rights, women entrepreneurs are not able to optimize full economic benefits from their innovative ideas. Now, KNCCI, we see the need for national, systematic, and deliberate efforts to empower and support women to contribute to economic growth by creating an enabling IP policy environment that specifically guides, informs, and protects their rights, their interests by, number one, hosting sensitization webinars, incorporating IP sessions in KNCCI trade fairs and symposiums, development of a social media toolkit to disseminate friendly IP information in partnership with other stakeholders that we have in this conference today, organize a nationwide campaign during World Intellectual Property Day to raise IP awareness. To deliver its mandate, KNCCI works closely with other stakeholders, including KIPI, KEKOBO, Competition Authority, and Anti-Counterfeit Authority, the Judiciary, Law Society of Kenya, and WIPO. Priority issue, so for us, we are saying that we want to increase awareness for our members and for women in business in Kenya, and this we will only achieve when all the stakeholders, some represented here today, come together and make this happen. And we want to thank the convener of this session, as this is where our conversations begin and where we are developing the business environment. Thank you.
Wonderful. Now I'll open the questions up to the audience. I can see there's already one in the Q&A session where we'll have the panelists answering your questions. William Olango.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, I think to raise a question, I work with a brand protection company here, and I asked about the issue of ethical marks being registered. A case which I'm handling on behalf of one of an IPR agent. So the matter is currently in court. I might not be able to talk much about it, but I'd like to know how we can get assistance as far as handling such cases is concerned. And if possible, if there are any measures that have been put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again. That's it for now.
Thank you, William. I'll just repeat it for Kipi. As an IPR agent, he's come across instances where two companies registered identical marks. So his question is, how did that happen? And what can be done to prevent this from happening again? And where can he go in such a case to have that sorted?
Thank you, William, for your question. Now, whatever you're asking should not be happening, but I think I posted some response on what you're asking, and in case you want more assistance and a follow-up on your case, I will invite you to come and see me. Thank you. My name is Janet Kisio. I'm the manager, trademarks.
We had another question from Mark Kiplagat. A question, Mark Kiplagat, would you like to raise your question online?
I think it has been answered by David Nikuna, the patents manager.
Would you like to ask a question?
I'm satisfied about the answer.
Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Oh, Janet, sorry, I hadn't seen the answer. So, okay, for those who have not been able to see the chart, Mark had asked, can someone protect learning milestone example is when someone comes up with a mathematical formula or anything that solves a problem. So Janet has said that mathematical formulas are not protectable under patent utility model, and maybe you can protect the sign you intend to use in selling your product. So thank you. That's just for everyone to know that mathematical formulas cannot be patented or utility models. What about copyright, Kalechi? So neither can they be protected by copyright because Kalechi says the idea has to be new. Though he's saying that what if you come up with a new idea, like a mathematical formula?
I can ask my colleague, he's a lawyer and is conversant with this, Alex.
Alex, kindly come and assist our inspector. Enforcement.
Thank you. Mathematical formulas are not copyrightable.
They're not. What is the reason why they cannot be copyrighted?
We only copyright expressed ideas which are original and which are creative in their nature. But learning formulas, just like some methods in science, like treatment methods, cannot be copyrighted. You cannot get monopoly over such. It is for learning purposes.
Wonderful. So because it's more of the public interest, I love it. So you cannot copyright it because it's part of the public interest. Did you want to add, David? So David wants to add, from Kipi wants to add on that.
Category of things that are not patentable, including scientific formulas and mathematical formulas, and those are prohibited by law. It's by law says those are not inventions. However, you can, if you make use of the mathematical formula and make a product, then the product can be patented, but not the formula itself. Yeah.
Go ahead, ask the question.
No, I already posted on the question chat. I'm a real estate agent, and we're in the process of trying to develop an app. So I just wanted to know what's the process and how much it will cost, and at what stage should I do the registration, because there are all fears of when I talk to designers at that stage, that is the place where you are likely to lose an idea to someone else who can go ahead and pick it up and register. So at what point do I patent it? Before I start discussing it with anyone, or maybe after I've met my designers?
Follow some area to patent because the law prohibits method of doing business. How you do business, the law says no. That's an area that cannot be under patent protection. However, you may consider the trademark, registering a trademark, the name of your app. So it's another powerful tool that you can use. A good example is M-Pesa. M-Pesa is no patent for it, but the trademark, the brand, is a very powerful tool for Safaricom. So So it's an area probably you can explore, and if you need further guidance, you can get in touch with us and guide you through the whole process. Yeah.
So you mean as long as I patent the trademark, I can go ahead and design the app and there'll be no risk of course it's not like M-Pesa, because M-Pesa is unique on its own way, but this is now real estate and it has all the complications that come with it. My fear, also being a woman and being in business, I don't know what's the right word to use for it. It's a murky world out there, but at the same time you want, once you get to the point of launching your app, you'll not find that someone else has already gone and registered something similar but with different trademark.
I would propose that probably we have an engagement, we get to know what it is that you have come up with, then we'll be able to advise properly once we get to understand what it's all about. Yeah, so probably that's, you better get in touch with us. My name is Devin Juguna. I'm the manager in charge of patents at KIPI. And probably outside here we can get my contact and we communicate.
Okay, so I'll just now get back to the panel. Is that a question? Okay, I understand there's a question. What is the meaning of KIPI?
KIPI means Kenya Industrial Property Institute.
Thank you very much. My comment is, I got to know about this forum through Women in Real Estate. The link was shared there with us. But I just want to congratulate the panelists and the organizers of this, because for one, for us to remain competitive in the world, this is a very, very important institution to safeguard where the world is headed and the kind of competition that we require. So Kenyans, and I'm not saying I'm not one of them, we are copycats, and that is really derailing or taking us back every time. We end up killing people's ideas and destroying them, and we can't compete. So I believe if this kind of forums are held more often and people are well informed about what they need to do to patent and also improve quality of services and products for everyone, I think we'll be in a very good place as a nation. So I just want to congratulate everyone, and especially the panelists, for being here today and giving us all this information that I believe we'll share with other people, so that Kenya can continue going where we're supposed to go, and also allow people to think, because there are people who don't want to think, they want others to think on their behalf, and they earn money out of it. So thank you so much.
A very important point there, to actually respect intellectual property rights. And as a country, I think we need to be able to take intellectual property rights of others very seriously. And we'll be relying on SCA, of course, and Kekobo to enforce on these rights, and KEFIS as well. I can see a question here from Josephine Enayi, just for the ones who cannot read the chats, where she was asking whether KIPI is international. And the response to this was that KIPI registers IP rights that are only valid in Kenya. You may need to find more information from the Nigerian IP office. Maybe just to mention that IP rights are territorial. They're territorial. So what that means is that they protect a particular territory. And yes, we have, where you can go centrally to get IP rights that cover, a larger territory. Like the EU, the ARIPO, the IP offices in the various regions. But by its own definition, the IP rights are territorial per country. The other question is Faith Zuma. Is there IP mentoring training for women? And we have the chairman who has answered. Faith, I think awareness creation and capacity building for female innovators to patent and commercialize their ideas in intellectual property is important. Yeah. She said, thank you for your answer. Is there any subsidiary fee for women in registration of trademark and patent?
The law provides that it is possible for a waiver of fees. You need to submit a request which will be considered on its own merit. But that only applies for patents, utility models, and industrial design. It doesn't apply with respect to trademarks.
Shizo, you want to ask your question? Shizo Mkenya. It seems we're not able to get Shizo online, but his question is here. I request Kipi to invite us for their workshops and training. Many creatives are not aware about them and what they do, their rates, etc. Is the performing artists.
For creatives, I think the relevant office would be Kekobo. Yeah, but for us, would probably deal with inventions. If you have invented a product, then we can have a discussion and also make arrangements. So I think the best thing is to send us an email at info@kipi.go.ke. Then we get back to you once you understand what the kind of collaboration or information you want from us. If not, it's things to do with music, creative, artistic work, then probably the best institution to get in touch with Kekobo.
As Kipi, do you post your trainings? Maybe on trademarks, the creatives will also come on when it comes to trademarks. They can come and know how to protect their stage name or something. Where can we get information on Kipi's trainings?
A tough one. Mostly, I think we use social media to advertise, to announce that we'll be having this program and invite people to register. Yeah.
And as we wrap up, is there any other burning question that has not been answered? Because I can see the time is not on our side. Oh, there is one here, very important. In the spirit of government initiative on automation of services, when is Kipi going to automate their services to accelerate innovation protection?
The system we use is developed by the World Intellectual Property Organization. And next week, they are coming to look at how they can be upgraded and be available online. So maybe in the next 6 months or so, we should have an online filing system.
And there's a plea here, which I want Faith Zuma to ask herself. So Faith, do you have Faith Zuma there? She's actually okay. So can you ask Faith, or is it something that I think Faith was asking whether there can be. She said, I think the government and Kipi should kindly review the amendment of the fees so that we can encourage a lot of women in IP registration. So I can see the chairman is online. Maybe he can give us some guidance on that. As in line with the theme. Can we wrap up the questions now? Are we all comfortable with the answers that have been given online? Yes? Okay. So because of time, kindly allow me to just take one last round of closing remarks by the participants. I'll start now from the left. And as Kaleche, as you discussed, kindly do tell us what you feel the future of the girl child in copyright is.
My take is we should ensure or promote early childhood learning of intellectual property protection to young girls, especially those in STEM and arts subjects, and also ensure young learners are aware of the opportunities available in intellectual property. They can be innovators, authors, IP professors like Executive Director Dr. Marcella. She's a professor at the Institute, I can't remember the name, and authors, producers, musicians like you, Angela, and also a corporate inspector like Kaleche, and that's my take for now.
Thank you. And Tobias, as you wrap up your final points, tell us what is the future of women-led enterprises in Kenya?
I think the future of women-led enterprises is very bright. And we would encourage any woman with any creative idea, please allow us to help you. Allow us to help you scale. Allow us to help you grow your business. Allow us to help you comply. And that is why we exist, particularly in the manufacturing sector, where it has been left for specific groupings of people. We want to encourage the women, we want to encourage the youth to venture into manufacturing sector. Manufacturing is the future. Thank you.
Manufacturing is the future. Wonderful. And the present. Please do tell us also what you can tell the young women or women generally interested in innovation in your area.
Thank you, Angela. And let me start by saying, in much of the world, the face of farming is female. However, gender-specific obstacles such as access to land, financing, markets, agricultural training and education, sustainable working conditions, and equal treatment put the female farmers at a disadvantage even before they plow the land or even before they sow the seed. In addition, entrenched gender roles and gender bias in developing countries, especially ours, prevent women from taking produce to their market, and all of us know that. And inherent gender biases in economic system regularly limits women to access to credits, and where small order farmers are held back by cultural norms, which of course we know they are retrogressive. By doing so, some of them, especially our women, are not even able to access credit. I appreciate what Tobias said that there are projects which are looking forward in financing women enterprises. Of course, without adequate funds for capital investment, female farmers are less likely than men to buy and use fertilizers, to purchase drought-tolerant seeds, implement sustainable agricultural practices, and use advanced farming tools and techniques that contribute to greater yields. And for the idea that gender equity is imperative to attainment of healthy lives, as well and well-being of all, and promoting gender equity in leadership in agricultural sector is an important part of this endeavor. Similarly, closing global gender gap in agriculture would grow food production and build sustainable futures for our women. Also, abolishing gender-specific barriers in farming would not only empower women to achieve their highest economic potential, but could help feed a hungry world. Giving females same resources and education as male could increase food production, potentially eliminating hunger and earning an extra income, which would enable women to spend more money on healthcare, nutrition, and education for their children. These are investments that could produce long-term positive results for the families, and their neighbors. An effort to have level agricultural playing field is gaining momentum for female farmers. And this can be attested by the panel, the representation of this panel, and what each stakeholder is doing towards that endeavor. Let me say that we need more collaboration among stakeholders in policy development to empower women and support our women innovators, and of course, using the unconscious bias to women. And this is through development of gender-responsive policies and regulations which favor our women innovators. We might also need the stakeholders to encourage collaboration with enforcement agencies to curb infringements, violation of patent rights, and even more, training such enforcement officers for enhanced collaboration. It is unfortunate that today here, the law enforcement officers are not represented, and they play a key role while we are enforcing our regulatory work. We need more workshops among stakeholders, and let it not only be when we are celebrating important days. We might also need to invite larger audience, especially women, so that we can spread the gospel. I can say KEPHIS is doing a lot to equip smallholder farmers with knowledge and technical support to grow high-demand crops while using sustainable agricultural methods. And we are just anticipating as an institution where these stakeholders will come up with a digital platform specifically for our women where they can tell their stories in their own words and in their own language. Let me say that the World Bank has also made gender equity in agriculture and food sector a specific goal and is working to extend women access to land and rural finance. The future is bright for our young women entrepreneurs and innovators in the agricultural sector. Let me finish by saying this. There is a quote that really reaches out to me, and that goes like this. If you teach a man to farm, his family will eat. But if you teach a woman to farm, the community will eat. And this echoes some of the FAO reports where they say if women farmers gain access to the same resources as their male counterparts, the entire world will eat too. Thank you so much.
Wow, excellent. So you have heard the women need to step up, especially in agriculture and in plant breeders, right? So we're looking forward to the women taking up that space. David, last words?
The DG of WIPO mentioned that only 16% of international applications are filed by women. And in our case, we just sampled some of the applications that have been filed since 2020 to present. And the percentage correspond with what was given by WIPO DG. 16% of those applications were filed by women, 69% by men. Then the third category is where the men and women are named as inventors, 15%. And these are applications that were filed by Kenyan residents. We are not counting the ones coming from outside. In terms of utility models, also more or less similar percentages, 69% by men, 18% in this case by women, and jointly where men and women are named as inventors in one application, 13%. So those numbers are quite low. And given the complexity of the patent system, KIPI is coming up with some program just to assist the inventors. One is called the Inventor Assistant Program, where we will collaborate with the practitioners, the IP practitioners, to provide services for navigating through the patent system free of charge. And that program will be launched on 11th of May this year, and we hope even women will benefit from that program. They'll be assisted to prepare the documentation that is required, and also in terms of going through the process of having their patents processed. So it's something to look forward to. When that program is in full operation, there'll be assistance to inventors.
Annie.
Thank you very much. Yeah. The future is bright. The women, there's a big space, an enormous space in the IP sector, and it has a lot of value. You can get very much gain from there. So we are all welcoming you into the IP space. Besides the registration, besides the protection and the enforcement, there is a lot of money to be made out there. And by way of just my closing remarks, I'd like to notify everyone that the Anti-Counterfeit Authority, ACA, is organizing an international conference. We are calling it an international symposium from the 13th to the 16th of June this year, so in a couple of months, where we're going to be discussing IP issues in real depth. So all of you are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And as we close, Jackie, as you close and give your closing remarks, kindly do highlight the priority issues in the Africa Continental Free Trade Area IP protocol and what the priority issues for the chamber in that particular protocol as we go into the regional trade.
I think for me, what I will start off by saying is that the priority issues in Africa Free Continental Trade Area IP protocol is aimed at protecting intellectual property rights across the continent. The Chamber advocates for stronger IP protection measures to ensure that women innovators protect their inventions and creations. In terms of facilitating trade, Africa is meant to facilitate trade across the continent. The Chamber works to promote cross-border trade among women entrepreneurs, including providing information on trade regulations and facilitating their access to finance. We are also very keen on supporting innovation. The Africa IP protocol aims to promote innovation and creativity across the continent. And the Chamber supports women innovators by providing training and mentorship programs, as well as creating networking opportunities to connect them with potential partners and investors, as you've seen with our partnership with Trademark and the iSoko platform. KNCCI works with governments and other stakeholders to ensure the protocol is implemented effectively, that women entrepreneurs can benefit directly from the process. By providing these women with the tools they need to succeed, we will not only empower them as individuals, but also contribute to the growth and the development of our economy as a whole. So what we are saying as KNCCI is that we are committed to providing an enabling business environment for women in business in all sectors. And we are also committed to creating awareness and information and capacity building opportunities in collaboration with other stakeholders on intellectual property. We are your voice to lobby and advocate, right, for the protection of your intellectual property, your innovations and creations. Therefore, we encourage you to join KNCCI. Remember, we are in 47 counties. You're welcome to be part of us. In your associations, we welcome you to join us because we want to create an enabling environment for all women and business people to facilitate trade and economic sustainability in our country. Thank you. Women, we are the power, we are the movers and shakers of our economy today. Thank you.
We are the movers and shakers, women, so we need to stand up and be counted. Thank you so much, Jackie. And on that, we'd also want to encourage the women to take advantage or to check out the protocol on women under the AFCFTA, following what Jackie had mentioned, and also see the available benefits therein. So thank you, panelists. I guess if we were here with the audience, I'm sure they would have had a round of applause for you. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank all of you. Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you so much for giving your time and your expertise in these discussions. So for now, we're going to go to our final program agenda, which is the Innovators Award. I'd like to note that the U.S. Embassy is part of the Kenya World Intellectual Property Day celebrations. So I'd like to call upon Ms. Faith Guy from the U.S. Embassy, who will read out the names of their awardees and details about their innovations. Faith.
Thank you so much. My name is Faith Guy. I work at the U.S. Embassy, and we are here to work together with KIPI in supporting our people as they protect what they have invented. So I don't have a lot to do today, but just to appreciate everyone that has been here today. Thank you so much, panelists. You gave us a lot of information on what Kenyans are looking for every day so that they can be able to govern their work, and they can be able to protect what they have done, because protecting IP is protecting even our income as well. So there was something that was done by KIPI in order to celebrate the World IP Day, and there was a call for innovators. And we had about more than 25 people did apply for this to be considered. And among them, everybody, of course, did well. But we know in every part there is usually the one who wins and the one who is not really, all of us are winners, but there is somebody who takes the cup. And I just wanted to highlight some of the things that were being considered. The thing that were being considered for this competition was the innovation must be created in Kenya, and then it must have been rolled out by now, and have a likelihood of achieving some of the economic goals like impact in agriculture and in micro finance and all that. And then they must have secured their IP rights or in the process of doing so. So we have the winners on the screen. They are joining us virtually, and I'm going to give them some time to just say something small. And I'll call them second runners-up today is Paris Onyango. And I'm just going to say something little about Paris, and then we are going to give her the opportunity to talk. I hope, Paris, you are online because you will be talking to us. So Paris has invented a product, diversifies sugarcane value chain for improved livelihoods. And she has, this is already rolled out. She has juices and sugar syrup, and she is promoting healthy organic foods. But I think the best person to speak about herself and her innovation is Paris. So do we have Paris online just to speak? Okay, as we wait for Paris, so Paris was ranked third. Onyango. Yes, yes. So the first runners-up is Esther Wanjiru Kimani. Esther looks like Esther is there. And so, Esther, we are going to, if you are ready, we can give you an opportunity to speak. She is our first runners-up. She has a technology called the Farmer Lifeline Technologies. It's a crops and disease detection device. And she has even been recognized, not just in Kenya, but I'm going to let Esther speak, and then maybe we can go ahead. So that is our first runners-up, Esther Kimani. Yes, I can see you online. Please go ahead, Esther, and tell us something about your innovation.
Technologies Kenya. Here we get farmers ahead of crop pests and diseases using a proprietary device that is mounted with a camera and scanners. Will send us on the mobile phone. We've gone ahead also to this training today. I've learned a lot, and to know that intellectual property is also an asset to us as a company. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for also being part of the
I can just read out what her innovation was all about, and then if we get her right, then we can continue. So she has this, well, the invention she has done has high economic impact on mitigating carbon emission to the environment for smallholder farmers, and they have been able to increase farmers' income. The technology deployed is user-friendly, using solar power and receiving information on their phones. She has an online presence on the website and YouTube, and she has already signed an exclusive manufacturing agreement, and she is fully rolled out. And as I said before, Esther is not only a star here in Kenya, but has even received a presidential award from His Excellency Paul Kagame. So we applaud you, Esther, and thank you for your contribution. So you are you are first runners-up. You will be expecting a certificate from WIPO, and you can contact the office, KIPI office, for your certificate. Thank you, Lillian, and now you are our winner for this year, so please keep in touch with us and KIPI, and you'll get your certificate. Asanteni sana. I'm going to take it back to Angela.
So we have come to the end of our ceremony and the World Intellectual Property Day, accelerating innovation and creativity and discussing women and IP. And I think those discussions today were really encouraging and really insightful. And I want to just take this opportunity to thank again our distinguished panelists who were here and took the time to actually take us through what the mandates of the various organizations and what they do as well. I'd also want to take the opportunity to thank the online participants who have stayed with us for these, how many hours? 3-4 hours? And be able to engage and participate and actually take part in this ceremony. Would also, I've noticed that the chairman has been on for all that time. So thank you, Chairman, for leading us, from the front. We want to also thank KIPI for organizing this ceremony together with all its partners, Kekobo, SCA, KEFIS, KNCCI, CAM, WIPO, and the US Embassy. Without you all, of course, we wouldn't have been able to make this happen. So we want to actually note that more than 166 participants attended today. So we want to really thank you all for your time and for participating. That's an encouraging number. So I'm Angela Ndambuki. I am the Regional Director of IFPI, which is the International Federation of the Phonographic Industry for the Sub-Saharan Africa region. And I also sit as the chairperson of the KNCCI IP Committee. And also the Kenya Association of Music Producers as a director. I am an IP, intellectual property lawyer, and a creative as well. And I'm really encouraged today by the presentations and by everything that we did. I was your moderator, and I just want to say thank you and God bless.